Welcome to the Authentic Life Connection podcast. I'm your host, Seth. I'm a master certified life coach, author, personal trainer, and nutrition specialist. For over a decade, I've been helping people with their dreams and goals for their life and health. I spent many years watching people get frustrated with their journey in life and giving up on taking actions towards their goals. So I dug in deep to find answers to why so many of us face this same frustration and struggle in life. So in this podcast, we're going to dive in deep on topics surrounding what it means to consistently live a fulfilling and authentic life, where you are unstoppable in taking action towards your dreams and goals. So the only question is, are you ready to start living your most authentic and fulfilling life once and for all? Then let's get started, shall we? Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. For those of you listening in for the first time, welcome. If this is your first time listening in, I'm going to say to go back and listen to last week's episode before you join us on this week's episode, because we are in a 3-part series, and this is part 2 of that 3-part series. So you're going to want to check out part 1 before you listen to the rest of this episode. So if this is your first time joining us, just go and go back and check last week's episode and then rejoin us here when you're done. So last week we began our series on authentic goals, and we started off last week with talking about what exactly authentic goals are and why they're so important. We kind of define the difference between goals versus, having dreams or a vision for your life. Before I go any further, I just want to go ahead and let you all know this episode may sound a little bit different. I'm actually dealing with a sick dog. By the way, guys, if you ever get a dog, beagles are adorable, but just so you know ahead of time, because I was not well informed on this when I decided that a beagle was the kind of dog I wanted. They are beautiful, cute, lovable little dogs, and they're so loyal, but they have the issue of literally eating anything that they can find on the ground, including things that they've eaten before that have made them sick. They will continue to eat them again. So I'm constantly dealing with my dog having stomach problems, and he's sick again right now. So I'm sort of laying with him here on the bed because I want to make sure he doesn't have an accident on the floor. So he gets a bit vocal sometimes when I disturb his sleep, and he's trying to nap right now. And since I'm talking next to him, you may hear him in the background grumbling at me. And the sound quality might sound a little bit different today because I'm not sitting in my usual recording spot at my desk. I am laying down on the bed with my microphone in front of me, talking to you all while watching my dog. So if it sounds different, that's what's going on. Last week we talked about authentic goals, what authentic goals are, the difference between them and having dreams or visions for our life, and how we can sort of know what our goals are and the purpose that they serve. So if you didn't go and listen to last week's episode, go ahead and go check that out, because it's going to make a lot more sense when we talk, or what we talk about today is going to make a lot more sense if you have listen to that episode, because there are a lot of misunderstandings surrounding the idea of goal setting and what goals are, and I feel like a lot of people get frustrated when it comes to setting goals because of these misunderstandings, and that episode is designed to sort of start clearing that up. And today what we are going to talk about is the authentic why. So the authentic why. When we talk about our goals, we have the goal. The goal, and our goals, as we talked about last week, are sort of these guideposts that let us know that we are heading towards the bigger vision, the bigger purpose in life, the bigger mission in life. And we set goals for ourselves, not because achieving them is going to make us a better person or make us feel better about our life. It's a way to hold ourselves accountable and to let ourselves know we are moving in the right direction. It's a way to establish a relationship of trust with ourselves, that we are going to follow through on what we say, and we are going to do so to move towards a higher purpose. So that is what we're going to actually talk about today, is that higher purpose. When we talk about goals, oftentimes people, when they set their goals, they don't know why they're setting their goals. There are a lot of mistakes when it comes to setting goals, and one of the biggest ones is not having a why. And what I mean by that is a reason, a purpose, a higher vision that is the reason why they are setting the goal. It is not the goal itself. So some of the mistakes that I see when people go about establishing their goals and establishing their why, I want to talk about those today. And then I want to talk about the reason why it is so important to have an authentic why when we set our goals. So let's start off with talking about some of the areas where I see people getting really stuck when we talk about the authentic why. Because this can get really confusing for people, especially with how we're being sort of inundated with how, social media and marketing teaching us how we make our goals, that it's all about the thing, that it's all about achieving the goal. And when we approach our goals in this way, then our why, if we even think to set one, is going to be very misled. And so I want to talk about some of the ways that I see people sort of mistaking the purpose of their goals and therefore either not setting or setting their whys in a way that's not going to help them. So mistake number one that I see when it comes to people setting their authentic why is that they make their why about other people. And what I mean by that is this. A lot of times I have people come to me with goals about their health. I'm just going to use this as an example because it's a very common one that I see, but you can apply this really to any kind of goal. And a lot of these goals when it comes to health are about losing weight or about getting ripped or having bigger muscles or having a better looking body. And when I ask people, okay, why do you have this goal? 99% of the time, the reason why they tell me that they have this goal is because of what they think other people will believe about them, think about them, or see about them when they look at them. And here's what I want to say. The reason why I say this is a mistake, because some of you might be scratching your heads thinking, well, that's why you set health goals. That's why you lose weight, is so that people will look at you and realize you're sexy and skinny and, you have a good body. And that's the whole point. When I take off my clothes at the beach, I want other people to be like, oh, look at how sexy they are. Here's the issue that we have when we set our why to be having to do with what other people will think about us or see about us or believe about us, is that we are setting ourselves up to fail. And the reason we're setting ourselves up to fail is because you can't control what other people will think about you. Period. You can't. And on top of that, you can't even know what it is that they think about you, and it's really none of your business. Let that sink in for a second and allow me to explain. So we can do things. We can adjust how we show up in life. We can adjust how we behave. We can adjust the appearance of our body. But when we make the goal of that, the reason why we're doing that, about what another person will see or think about us, what we forget is that other people are sovereign beings. Other people are sovereign beings with choice, and they have their own lived experience and stories about life based in that experience. You can't control that. You can't know all of it, and it's none of your business. And what that means is that even if you change something about your body, you cannot guarantee that the other person will notice it, will acknowledge it, will like it, or what they will think about it. I go back to many examples of where I have in my own life tried to change things about the way I behave, the way I do things. And I did them because other people said, oh, you should do more of this. And I thought, oh, so if I do that, these people will like me. But here's the thing that I noticed when I did it, is that I would do the thing, I would make the change, and most of them wouldn't even acknowledge that the change had been made. They wouldn't even notice that the change had been made. And even if I pointed it out, it's like they didn't really see it. They were still stuck in a story about me that was about their impression of me based on their experience of life, based on their story about life, based on the lens that they looked at life through when they first met me. And changing that story was beyond my control. I couldn't do it. No matter, and I could go about trying to manipulate them and coerce them and, use some like emotional tactics to try and make them feel guilty for how they were still seeing me and blah, 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 blah. I could do all of that and get them to try and people please me. But the truth of the matter was, no matter what I did, I could not force them to think about me what I wanted them to think about me. And even if they told me that they believed me, I couldn't know that they actually believed me. They told me that they did. But, we say things to people all the time that we're actually thinking something different in our heads. We don't fully express all of the thoughts in our heads. So this is a mistake when we make our why about other people, is that we will never know what the other person is actually thinking. And here's the other side to this. The other reason why this is a mistake, and actually another mistake when it comes to this, is the fact that when we're doing this, because we want other people to believe something about us, to feel something about us, to see something about us, it's actually because we want to believe something about ourselves. And the truth of the matter is, if we do not learn how to change our own story about ourselves, it doesn't matter how many other people tell us they believe us or see something about us that we want them to believe. If we don't believe that about ourselves, we won't believe them either. We will come up with stories about how they're just making it up, how they're just being nice, and how we still need to work harder. And, they don't actually believe that. They're just, trying to be nice to me, blah, blah, blah. We will still not believe it. So, biggest mistake that I see when people talk to me about their why for making changes is that they make the change about other people feeling, thinking, or believing or seeing something about them. Big mistake. Your authentic why will never be about someone else, because that's not authentically you. The other mistake that I see people making when it comes to their authentic why is that they believe that their life is going to change and be better or easier on the other side of the goal. So we've got the fact that mistake number one is that people will make the why about other people, and then make the thing that they want the other people to believe about them really is something that they want to believe about themselves. So they make themselves believe that once they achieve the goal, that they will feel better about themselves. They will believe something different about themselves. But that doesn't happen, because that's something we will have to choose with intention before achieving the goal, to believe something about ourselves. And actually what's interesting is that it's in us changing our beliefs about ourselves that will drive us to unstoppably go after the goal. And then when we hit the goal, continue moving forward towards the bigger vision. It's because we've changed our story about ourselves and who we are and what kind of person we are and what is possible for us, that we do take the actions that create the result that we're looking for in our life. That's the crazy part, is that so many of you out there make the why about, once I achieve the goal, I'll believe this about myself. And I have such a hard time getting people to see sometimes, no, you change the belief about yourself, and that's what will drive the action to create that result. It's not the other way around. You're not going to lose weight and then feel better about your body and then finally love your body. But guess what? If you love your body, then you're going to take care of it differently. And more than likely, that's going to mean less emotional eating, less overeating, which means that your weight will probably change. Because you're loving your body, and because you're not seeing it as a punching bag for your uncomfortable emotions, to stuff food inside of it to comfort it away from those emotions, and then cause it to gain weight, and then beat it up for gaining weight by eating more food because of the emotions you experience about gaining the weight. Learning to love your body first is what actually drives you to take care of it and feed it foods that nourish the body, not numb it. And then guess what typically happens is that if the person is overweight, they're going to lose weight in doing so. But what's so crazy is that when people beat themselves up about their body and they try and lose weight from that perspective, they end up not being able to do it because they're constantly battling themselves to want to emotionally eat, to buffer away the emotions of them literally hating their own body and feeling so disgusted and so uncomfortable being present in their own body with their own experience of it. It's only in changing that story and that relationship that the result that they're looking for actually comes as a side effect of them finally loving themselves. So that's mistake number one. And mistake number two is making, and these kind of tie together, is making the why about the fact that life will be easier and better on the other side of achieving the goal. My friends, I know you're probably thinking, well, then what's the point of goals if we don't feel better and have a better life on the other side? Okay, remember that the purpose of the goals is to drive us in the direction of the higher purpose. Okay, so when we achieve the goal, life just doesn't end. It's not like magical balloons fall from some ceiling somewhere and glitter, golden glitter, and you get a ticket and you're like, oh, you finally made it into the life where it's easy and, all the good things are going to happen to you now and nothing bad and life is better now. It's good. That doesn't happen. We achieve the goal, and on the other side, life is still 50-50. 50% of it we will enjoy, will feel easy for us, will feel comfortable for us, and 50% of it will be a struggle and problems and obstacles that we will face and try and find solutions for. You will never reach a point in life in which pain no longer exists. Life will always be 50-50. And the reason this is a mistake when making your why about life being easier on the other side, better on the other side, is that what typically happens is that either you will give up on the goal because it's about making life easier and better on the other side, and so you're hating your life so much that you end up giving up because there's so much emotional baggage that you're trying to resist through in order to get to the goal, and you're trying to use willpower to get there, and willpower is a finite resource. That's the number one issue with this. The number two issue with this is that when you make the why about the fact that your life will be better on the other side, and then you achieve the goal, and guess what? Life isn't better on the other side. It's still 50-50. It's a different set of 50% problems, and it's a different set of 50% things that you will celebrate. And that might be a goal, that you want different things to celebrate in life. That's great, but it's not going to be better. It's just going to be different, a little bit different on the other side. It's still going to have the same amount of discomfort and pain, though. And when you believe that the point of the goal is that on the other side life will be easier and better for you, then you will feel so disillusioned when you get to the other side. And I've seen this happen so many times with people, that they achieve the goal and then they get this disillusion, but wait, I thought life would just be better now. And then it's not. So they feel the confusion, this disillusionment, and they're kind of like, well, what was the point? And then they go right back to the old familiar patterns, right back to the old pain, because it's familiar. Instead of seeing that the purpose of the goal was the bigger purpose, the bigger mission in life, the big why. And that the point was when you get to that goal and you achieve it, that then you're like, okay, so I know I'm on the right path. What is the next goal? To continue moving in this direction. That's the point of the goal. So when you make the why about life being better and easier on the other side, you'll get to the other side and be like, oh, I finally made it. And then realize life is still life. It's not going to work out very well for you. So that's the second big mistake, or actually kind of third big mistake that I see people making when it comes to their why, is that they make it about their life being easier or better on the other side. And this creates a huge problem. Another mistake I see people making when it comes to making their whys is that they make the why about what others tell them why they should want something. There's no connection to the why. I see this a lot when it comes to jobs. I see this all the time when it comes to people's jobs and they feel unfulfilled and they're like, I got this degree and I got this job and, my parents told me that I should want this job because I'll make all of this money and I should want, this because of blah, 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 blah. And they have no idea why they authentically wanted it. It's just because their parents told them, because their grandparents told them, because their friends told them, because their pastor told them. They have no clue why they are connected to that authentic why. And so they feel unfulfilled even if they do achieve the goal. Because it wasn't something that they wanted, it's something that they think that they should want. And they don't know why they want it. And so it feels unfulfilling because it is not connected to an authentic higher value and purpose for them. So that's the next mistake I see people making. The next mistake I see people making when it comes to their authentic why is they make the why about just having the thing. So the why is just to have the thing. And they think that that's the purpose. Oh yeah, once I have the thing, then I have the thing. And so life is better. And, I guess it kind of goes back to life being better on the other side, but it's almost like they don't even really think about like, oh yeah, I believe life is going to be better on the other side. It's almost like they're just like, well, duh, I'll have the thing. It's the thing that everybody wants. And so I'll have it. That's the purpose. And Yeah, I feel like I don't even need to go into an explanation to that as far as why that is an actual problem. So yeah, these are some of the biggest mistakes that I see people making when it comes to their authentic why. And I would say the number one biggest one is making it about other people. What other people are going to believe about you, what other people are going to think about you, and how that's going to make you feel about yourself. It's not going to happen. You're not going to wake up all of a sudden and be like, oh, I achieved the goal. So that means now everybody believes this about me, so I guess it's true, and I feel that way, and everything's great. No, it doesn't work that way. You'll get to the other side of the goal, you'll still have your same set of beliefs about yourself, and you'll be trying to convince yourself, okay, now I achieved the thing, so I should feel this way about me, I should believe this about me now, and you'll try and push yourself into feeling them, and you'll notice it's not really coming. You're like, when does that feeling come? When does it, I thought I was going to just all of a sudden love myself on the other side, and it never comes. Because the truth is, that was what you were supposed to learn that drove you towards the goal. That was not the point of the goal. The point of the goal was not to feel better about yourself on the other side. That wasn't it. That's your choice. That is your responsibility to create that belief about yourself, to create that vision of yourself before you get to the goal. And that's what drives you to the goal and continues to drive you forward once you achieve it. That's not the point of the goal. That's not the why. If you remember last week, we talked about authentic goals and how our authentic goals align with a vision of purpose and a life mission. The authentic why does too. The difference being that the goals are the signposts that we are heading towards that bigger mission, that life purpose, that vision, that dream. And the why is that bigger picture of contribution and the values that align with that contribution. Our why is about our values. Our why is about when I look at that bigger vision, when I look at that bigger purpose of life, when I, like we talked about last week, I'm at the end of my life and I've done what I wanted to do with my life. What did I contribute? What values did I contribute to this world that were important for me? What did I leave behind? What did I leave more of in this world that was important for me? That's your big why. That is when we look at that bigger picture of I've done all of the things that I wanted to do because I believe that these contributed to more of these values being in the world. More of this being in the world that I wanted to contribute. That is our why. So you might be asking, why is the why so important to have then? So I've talked about this before. I had a podcast episode talking about pivoting on purpose. And this is why the why is so important. You might want to go back and listen to that episode. I can't remember the episode number. But if you look through my episodes and look up pivot on purpose or pivoting on purpose, then you'll find the episode. Goals are designed to be able to pivot on purpose. And without an authentic why, they will not do so. And what I mean by that is when we have a powerful why, it allows us to know that when circumstances change in life. Let's talk about COVID. COVID disrupted a lot of the ways that we did things in a beautiful way. Because it almost forced us to pivot on purpose and forced us to see, hey, you can't rely on the how. You can't rely on the what, because the what and the how can change. But when you are aligned with purpose, you're unstoppable here. So what I mean by that is this. When COVID happened, it was no longer, in some cases, legally possible to do things with people face to face, in person. A lot of stuff moved online. So here's the thing. If our goals had to do with doing something with someone face to face and in person, and we didn't have a why for it, and then all of a sudden, that is no longer possible. You're not able to meet them face to face. It's done. That is no longer a possibility. You are stuck inside of your house for the next 10 days. Your goal to meet this person in face to face and have this meeting with them is no longer possible. So did you fail? The truth is, if you don't have an authentic why, you're probably going to give up and choose to believe that you failed. But here's what pivoting on purpose means. If I have a purpose, a why, that is about my bigger purpose, then I can see what was it that I wanted to accomplish by meeting this person in person, face to face. If I know what those things are, If I know the why, if I know the values that I wanted to contribute to the world by having this meeting with this person face to face, I can find another solution. I can find a way to create that in a Zoom meeting maybe. Maybe I do things a little bit differently. Maybe I talk a little bit differently. Maybe I gesture differently. Maybe I ask different questions that I would ask in person. Maybe I spend a little bit more time with the person than I would in person to make sure that I'm providing this value in that meeting. But the truth of the matter is, if we don't have an authentic why for the goal, then when the circumstances of life change, then we will not know how to pivot that goal on purpose, instead of making it giving up or failing. This is why having an authentic why is so important. If your goal is to run a marathon by the end of the year, and then you break your leg in November, guess what? You're not running the marathon in December. So did you fail? The truth is, if you don't have an authentic why you were wanting to do it, then yes, it's going to be very easy to say, I failed. But if you have an authentic why, if you know the purpose, the values behind why you were wanting to run this marathon, you can create it in other ways. Maybe you reschedule it for the next year when you can run it again. Or maybe it was about doing the entire race to completion and about being willing to stand up for yourself, to advocate for yourself, and not give up on this. So maybe you complete it in your wheelchair. So you don't run it. You do it a different way. The truth of the matter is, if you don't have an authentic why you were doing it, you can't pivot that goal on the purpose of it. It's like, oh, well, the goal was to run the marathon and now I have a broken leg. I can't run it, so I guess I failed. That's it. Because there's no why behind it. This is why an authentic why is so important. And if the why isn't authentic, then it's not going to feel fulfilling to pivot on purpose. Then it feels like, oh, I'm settling. Oh, I'm settling for something less. And, I can't run the marathon. I'm not just going to settle. And we feel like we're like cheating ourselves and giving up and settling and being, less of a good person. But the truth of the matter is, when we can see the purpose, when we can see the values that we're wanting to contribute by that goal, when we see the bigger vision of purpose, then pivoting on purpose doesn't make the goal less fulfilling, because the purpose of the goal hasn't changed. And we're still accomplishing that purpose. It's not about settling, it's not about giving up, and it's not about failing. It's about pivoting on purpose. The why also allows us to plan continued movement forward once a goal is achieved. We talked about this in the mistake of people making it be about, when I achieve the goal, then I'll feel better about life. Done. Balloons drop, golden glitter, balloons, sirens go off, life is great, and it's done. But that's not what happens. And when you don't have a powerful why, you just go back to the way life was before at that point in time, because you're like, well, what do I do next? There's no plan. Having an authentic why allows us to hit the goal and be like, that was awesome. I stuck to it. I honored my commitment. I had my back. I followed through on the purpose. I know I completed the goal. And guess what? The purpose is still bigger than that goal. So we can still keep moving towards it. So what's the next goal? What's the next milestone that I will reach to let me know I'm still moving towards that bigger vision of purpose? Because I know what I want to achieve in this life out of my 85, 90, 100 years that I plan on being on this planet. So what's my next step to head towards that now that I've accomplished this goal? Without an authentic why, we don't have that further point, that end of life vision of, by the end of my life, this is what I've accomplished, to drive us to continue moving forward in that direction once the goal is accomplished. So, having an authentic why allows us to plan continued movement forward after a goal is achieved, and continued movement forward when the goal, the what of the goal might need to pivot on purpose. Another reason why having an authentic why is important is because when the how becomes blurry, and what I mean by that is circumstances changing around you, and so some of the hows that you're going to get there might also change. You might not be able to have those in-person meetings anymore to get to the goal. So the how is now a bit blurry. We got to figure out a new how. And having an authentic why allows us to pivot on purpose and find new action steps that we can take to get towards the goal, because we know the authentic why. So when the how becomes blurry, an authentic why gives us a direction, a scaffolding to look for solutions within. We know that these were the values we were trying to produce, And see, here's the other, I see people get lost in this sometimes. The how changes. And they're like, oh shit, I don't have a plan anymore. What's the plan? What's the plan? And they start looking around them to other people to give them ideas of what plan B, plan C is going to be to keep moving them towards the same goal. And people give them solutions that aren't aligned with the values that were the why for the goal. And they'll just follow those because they lost sight of what the authentic values were behind the goal. And then the movement becomes inauthentic. The movement becomes labored. The movement becomes about, willpower and resisting because they're following someone else's values. The truth is there are millions or maybe even billions of ways to get towards a goal. And if you don't know your authentic why, then when the how changes, you're going to get lost in what a how is going to look like for you that is aligned with the values and the purpose of your goal. So that it's not about willpowering, it's not about resistance, it's about you moving in a direction to express your values, to express your purpose towards that goal. You don't want to get lost in other people's how-tos because you lost sight of the purpose of your goal. Having that authentic why there allows you to not lose sight of the purpose of the goal. So when the how becomes blurry and you need to create a new plan, you can create a new one that still stays aligned with the values behind that goal that were there to begin with. All right, so this is another reason why having an authentic why is important. An authentic why will also make sure that the solutions that we consider, like I said, stay consistent with the aligned authentic purpose, the aligned authentic bigger vision. So it will make sure that our actions line up with our words. It will keep us in congruity with ourselves, with who we truly are and what is important to us. An authentic why is also how we generate action when we don't feel like taking the planned action towards the goal. And what I mean by is this. There are a lot of times that even when we are aligned with our values, we still have a human body. We still have a human brain, and it's going to have emotions. And it's going to have days when it feels tired. It's going to have days when it doesn't want to cooperate, the brain and the body. And there are going to be days that our old stories are going to pop up. And we're not going to feel like taking the actions that day that we promised ourselves we would take. I'm sitting down here recording this episode for you all. I did not feel like doing it. I've got a sick dog. I spent hours on the phone with Facebook Meta Business Suite trying to fix an issue with my Instagram account. You guys, if you think Facebook is frustrating for you on a personal level, try working with it on a business level because there are so many glitches in this system. My friends, it's insane how many hours I spend in chats and on the phone with them trying to have them fix things with my Facebook business account and with my Instagram business account. But I digress. The reason I tell you this is because today I did not feel like recording this podcast episode. I felt like saying, I'm at episode 120. I can take a week off. I can take a week off and just, tell people, sorry, I needed a break for a week and come back next week. But the truth of the matter is, I know my authentic why. My authentic why is about my values. It is about me creating more understanding. It is about me creating more compassion. It is about me creating more availability for people to truly understand and have compassion for themselves and love themselves, and to create resources for people to find ways to do this, to create a path forward, to offer them self-awareness, to be able to find solutions for this. And I thought to myself, waiting until next week doesn't change that. But if my purpose is to do this, why am I not doing it now? What reason because I don't feel like doing it. And when I thought about my bigger vision, when I thought about the bigger vision of, Seth showed up even when it felt hard. Not because he had to, not because he should, not because it made him a better person, but because he was committed to honoring his purpose. I believe that about me. And if I truly believe that about me, do I wait until next week? Am I able to record? I have a voice. I have the ability to. Do I feel like doing it right now? No, I don't. But I have the ability to do it. And when I think about my authentic purpose, my authentic why, and that bigger picture, I get excited about contributing to that. I get excited about giving that gift to my future self and saying, yeah, this is how we did it. You're welcome, because I showed up today instead of deciding, nah, it can wait until next week. My future self says thank you to me, and I say you're welcome to them, because I showed up, because I want to contribute to that bigger vision today. I want to contribute to that bigger purpose today, because I believe in that bigger purpose and that bigger vision, because I'm aligned with it and it's important for me. When I remember my values, when I remember what is important for me, and how much I want you all to begin to have understanding and compassion and love for yourselves and being able to become unstoppable badasses in your own life. Stop being a victim. Stop surviving a story about life that is not yours, that was handed to you, that you feel like you have to believe about life. And start understanding and remembering who you are and love that person. When I think about that, I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I'm getting fired up over here. And I'm so grateful to myself that I decided to sit down with my sick dog here on my bed and hit the record button on my laptop and just start recording. Just start talking to you all and offering that purpose, that bigger purpose that was so important for me when I decided to do this. So here I am, not feeling like doing it, and taking the action anyways. And my friends, this is one of the biggest reasons why we have an authentic why, is because there will be times when we don't feel like taking the actions. And if we try and should ourselves and shame ourselves and guilt ourselves and, willpower ourselves into doing it, we eventually hit a resistance point where it becomes so painful that we give up, because it's not authentically aligned with an authentic why that is in our values and in our purpose in life. And when your why is aligned with those values and your bigger purpose in life, it's just a matter of reminding yourself you're here for something bigger. Yes, it feels hard. This step in front of you feels hard, but that step is one step closer to this massive goal that you are, the massive bigger picture, the massive powerful vision of your life and its purpose that you have, that you are here to serve, that you are excited about. This is one step in that, and that step is important. Are you going to show up for it? Are you going to have your back? Are you going to believe that you are the person that shows up today and does that and fulfills that bigger purpose? And when you say yes to yourself and you honor that commitment to yourself, not because you should, but because you want to, because you are aligned with that vision. That vision is authentic for you, the goal is therefore authentic for you, and the why is authentic for you. When all of those align, it's simply a matter of reminding yourself, belief is action, action is belief. Can you do this right now? Do you have the ability to do it? All right, do that. Take step 1. Can you pull out the laptop and carry it into the bedroom? Yes, I can. All right, take that step. Can you lay the laptop down on the bed, set the microphone in front of it, and get into a comfortable position on the bed? Yes, I can. All right, 1, 2, 3, go. Can I open up Audacity and, hit the record button? Yes, I can. 1, 2, 3, go. Can you start talking into the microphone? Literally, this is the conversation that I had with myself. Until eventually the momentum of the excitement of remembering the purpose, remembering the values that I am here to share, remembering the bigger vision that I am contributing to by sitting down and recording this episode, when that momentum kicked in, that unstoppability started, and it was just word after word after word coming out of my mouth. And here I am now at 40 minutes talking to you all, having shared with you all exactly what I wanted to share with you all today about why your authentic why is so important for you, and why you want to create one when it comes to your goals. That's what I wanted to share with you all today. That's what is so important to get here. It starts, remember, we have our authentic goals, but we can't have those authentic goals until we have an authentic overall mission and vision and dream for our life. When we have that overall authentic mission and vision of purpose and dream for our life, we can set authentic goals that will be guideposts to let us know you are committed. You are the person that does the things that you say you're going to do. You have your back. You can trust yourself. We set up those goals to be those guideposts that remind us that we are on the way and we are the person that can trust ourselves to go after our goals and to keep moving forward and to know the direction we want to move in. And then we set our authentic why based in those values that vision of purpose is based in. Your authentic why is not about other people. It's not about what they're going to think or believe about you. It's not because your life is going to be easier on the other side of that goal. Your life is still going to be 50-50. But are you serving a bigger mission, a bigger vision of purpose that excites you because it aligns with what is truly valuable to you in life? And if you're not, I'm here to help you find that vision, that purpose that you've forgotten. Because it's there. I promise you it's there. Buried under layers of inauthenticity, it is there, and I'm more than happy to help you find it, peel away the layers of inauthenticity and bring that back out to the surface. Light that fire in your life again that makes you unstoppable. You've got the goals. Did you set that authentic why? Is your authentic why there? Is it aligned with your true authentic core values? Because that's the next step in making you going after your authentic goals unstoppable. All right, that's all I've got for you all today. I love you all. I hope you found this episode helpful. Get out there and know your authentic why for your goals. I'm here to help any one of you who feels like, I'm not sure if I have an authentic why. I'm not sure if my why aligns with my authentic values. I got you. I've got a coaching program just for you. All you got to do is reach out. Let's talk, okay? Let's have a conversation. For those of you out there who know your core values, know the authentic core values, not the ones that you should believe based on what your parents taught you or church taught you or a pastor taught you or a teacher taught you or your grandparents taught you, the ones that authentically align with your spirit, your vision, your purpose that you entered this life in before you started hearing all the stories about who you are, who you should be, and what's possible for you. Does your powerful why, does your authentic why align with those values? Do you even know what those values are? I'm here to show them to you. But if you know them, make sure your why is aligned with them, because that's what's going to keep you unstoppable and moving forward towards your goals, my friends. Next week, we're going to talk about authentic action. All right? So stay tuned. Next week, we've got part 3 of this series. We're going to talk about authentic action next week and end this series on authentic goals. I hope you found these first 2 episodes useful. Reach out to me, ask me your questions, let me know where maybe there's some confusion, let me know what you really got out of this, what was helpful, what was insightful for you. Maybe I can expound on that a little bit more on the final episode here. I want to hear from you all. I want feedback on this series. I want to know that it is serving you. We've got one more episode left in this series, and I can pack a whole lot more in that last episode if I know what is really serving you guys and what is not. All right, so reach out. Let me hear your comments. Let me hear your questions. Reach out if you want help with the authentic why and knowing your authentic values and your authentic vision of purpose. All right, I love you all. I got your back. Have your own back. It's time to rise and thrive, and I will talk to you again here next week. Until then, ciao. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the content of this podcast. If you did, please subscribe so that you're one of the first people to know when I release a new episode each week. If you have any questions, or if you have interest in learning more about the coaching that I do with my clients one-on-one, then just head over to my website at www.lifecoachseth.com. That's www.lifecoachseth.com. There you're going to have the ability to reach out to me for questions that you might have, or to book your free discovery call with me to discuss what one-on-one coaching with me might be like for you. You can also check out and order your copy of my book to get a taste of what I'm all about as a person and as a coach. I'm so happy that you joined us today, and I hope to have you here again next week. So until then, let authenticity be the guide to your most unstoppable and fulfilling journey of life.